When I participated in a pageant 2 years back, somebody asked me, if you had to name an autobiography, what would you name it? And this is what I said, Boots and Heels. I have worn combat boots with utmost pride and honor. And at the same time, I wore heels with the same grace. From flying the mean machines to letting the gown flow. Why not? About me, I'm an IT engineer from SNDT University, Mumbai. Served in Indian Air Force for 15 years proudly as a transport pilot. Presently a commercial pilot with leading airlines of India, Indigo. I'm mother to a 13-year-old beautiful daughter who's part of our audience today, and a 7-year-old loving daughter. I was adjudged first runner-up at Mrs. India INC 2021. And thereafter, I also held the title of Mrs. India Galaxy 2021. Feminist, model, artist, fitness enthusiast, traveler, and a homemaker. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Shruthi Chauhan, a retired wing commander from Air Force, standing in front of you. Why me for this topic? Let me give you some background. As already briefed before, my ancestors' root go back to Nepal. Both my grandfathers were part of the freedom struggle of India. So I grew up listening to the freedom struggle stories right from the word go. Migrated to central India because my father worked all over India. And later, we settled in Aurangabad, Maharashtra, and my grandfather's ancestral property is in Latur. Joined Air Force with wheels under my heels and wings on my back. Married a North Indian boy for love and spent most of my service career down south here. In fact, I was in Bangalore for 6 years plus. Have traveled the world and bonded with people of different cultures, religion, sexual orientation, and opinions with utmost grace. Okay, so this is just some of the glimpses of my past career in the Air Force. While I served in Air Force for 15 years, I came with a background that my parents gave me. You know, when I grew up as a child, I did face bias in the house as, a girl or a boy. Don't give me such sad faces. It was not a bias wherein I suffered. It was my brother who suffered because I was more privileged as compared to my brother. And so yes, I come with that background where my parents taught me that men and women are equal. So with that background, I joined NCC as a cadet. And that was my first introduction to uniform. Later, I took to Air Force, worked in Air Force for 15 years. And that motivated my younger brother to join Army. And he's still serving in Army from past 14 years proudly. But when I worked in Air Force for 15 years, I came with a background and a fact which told me that everybody is equal. But as I started facing the practical truth, I came to realize that everybody is not equal. I could only see men in leadership positions. I started thinking why. When I was flying to the forward areas, the glaciers, doing drop zones, and all the missions, I had to fetch for a basic need. Like there was no washroom catered for female. Yes, it did taught me bladder control, but I always asked a question why. In spite of women and other people being deserving, they were not given enough chances. Let's talk about the men counterpart. Nothing against them, but whenever a female superior is to give them orders, especially the Jawans, I'm sure Colonel sir would agree that they would have difficulty following the orders. They would just see through you as if you don't exist. But at the same time, another male junior would give an order, they would jump and follow the orders. Again, a difficult thing to accept, but we did that. Flying with period cramps was a norm. Because whom should I tell? Nobody will understand. Nobody's used to having females around. Asking for co-location with your spouse was like asking a big favor. Mind you, I can go on and on with these kind of biases. But I'm not here only to give you the biases. Only this kind of biases. There are other kind of biases which we also face. Point in case is moving 2 states. A North Indian guy in a heavily crowded South Indian place is ought to feel out of place. Why? Ask a question. Another classic. Our Northeastern fellows and friends, in spite of being at most professional, are always call out names and being sidelined. Why? Another fact. Out of 24 Chief of Air Staff Indian Air Force has had, only one gentleman was a Muslim. Ask why. I had a senior back in 2006 when I got commissioned. She was a lesbian. I don't want to take any names, but kudos to her that she came out with a sexual orientation back in 2006. But our laws did not support the cause. Eventually, she had to leave Air Force. She migrated to US, where the laws supported her cause and accepted her. Think why. Let's talk about the pyramidal structure of Air Force or the armed forces. The pyramidal structure, after certain years, will let your junior supersede you, and you will still have about 10 to 15 years of service left without any promotion. Why? You know, I can go on with these kind of biases endlessly. And mind you, I'm talking about the places where, the defense services, where they are right up there, where you talk about diversity and inclusion. So when I'm talking about these institutions, think about the institution where they are just starting to put their baby steps. Let's talk about a different aspect. How different is acceptable? A fellow colleague, Manish Giri from Indian Navy, he realized that he was different from the other men. He went ahead, did a sexual change operation. To come back to a horror, when Navy said that we don't have rules for you to continue the service. But all is not bad. Let me talk about some good positives. The gentleman that left, Wing Commander Yashdeep Devas, I had an opportunity to serve with him. He got paralyzed in an accident waist below. Couldn't move his limb. He was a flyer, a proud pilot. But he fought a case and Air Force gave him opportunity to continue serving. He's in Bangalore, mind you, okay? If at all you get a chance, please do and meet him. You will understand what an excitement and zeal to live a person must have in life. A beautiful lady pilot fell in love with him. In spite of he being on a wheelchair, she persisted that she wanted to marry him. They got married and they got 2 beautiful children. Another gentleman, in training, he jetted, again, paralyzed below waist. Air Force was kind enough for him to continue service. According to Indian Army Corps, Medical Corps I'm talking about, every year about 200 men or women get paralyzed or handicapped. But how many of us accept them to live a normal life? I think it's anybody's guess. I'll leave you with that. Yes, on the right side, that's my daughter, and that's my husband along with me. So now I come to us. When is the right time for us to tell our children that what is diversity and how should we get them to the harsh fact? Should we tell them that it's a utopian world? No, it's not. The duty lies within us that we make them trade a difficult path for them to realize that they are diverse and different, yet acceptable by people around us. I'll give an example. I've been posted all over India. So I had an easy option, rather me and my husband had an easy option for us to put our daughter in KV or Air Force school, where she would have the same curricula in spite of moving her schools and states in middle of the semester also. But we always put her in the local school outside. Reason being, one, she learned a different language. I know she hates me for that, but that's okay. In the long run, it's going to help her. She's going to learn a different language. She'll learn the local language. She'll learn how to interact with the local people. She will understand the mindset that different people have different abilities. if she's always with people around of the same genre, from the defense people, she's not going to learn anything different. That is what I'm trying to say. Start the difficult process from your house, from your school. Let me get you to a different, what is diversity and inclusion? What is the difference? Diversity is, all of us are different. I speak different language, you speak different language, you like different food, you have different thought process. You have different religions, you have different cultures. This is diversity. Diversity also includes the background you come from, rich, poor, middle class, everything is diversity. How you get everything together, rather what to do with this diversity is the final outcome of what we want here. Who and what to do will get us to equity. Mind you, not equality. There's a subtle difference in equity and equality. Equity takes into consideration your circumstances, your differences. Equality is everybody is given an equal opportunity, but the other person, how is he or she utilizing the opportunity will give you equity. There's this classic picture of equity. On the left one, everybody's standing on the same platform. That is equality, what we give to people. But do we realize that the small kid is short in height and in spite of giving the same height block will not be able to see the other side? No, that is what I'm talking about, equity. This will take your differences and your opinion into consideration. Diverse resources having an inclusive strategy will get us to an end state of equity. That is what we want to get, and this is my point here. Diversity and inclusion and equity will give us belonging. Now let ask the superiors and the seniors in the school a question. How can we be diverse by default and not by process? Diversity of thought, is that not the fundamental objective here? Or it is just being a sheep in the herd and continuing with what everything around is common and what everybody says is right? Is building a participative culture and removing biases at the grassroots level important? And when I say grassroots level, we start with the school, we start with the kindergarten kids. Is that not important? Let me ask some interesting questions to the kids here. Are you okay with the top rankers being in this different section and I dare to say, but the slow learners in different section? It's easier, right? The top rankers, your classes will be finished easier, faster than the slow learners, different teachers will be given. Right? Or even better, girls in a different section, boys in a different section. Boys can have all the fun they want, they can do all the masti, and they can behave the way they want. The girls will have a neater, quieter classes. I'm not saying that the girls are more neater and boys are not neater, don't quote me, but yes. How would you feel that if you don't have to wear a uniform? Anybody can wear any designer clothes, whatever you want, sports outfit or anything. A good idea? I don't think so. If these questions made you think, or even a slightest of irritation or anger you had, I think we're on the same page. But is the diversity enough? I will say no. Why? I will want to extend on these three questions. If we have all the students together, a slow learner will learn from a bright student. A bright student will develop more patience and bond homey while helping a slow children. Girls and boys interacting will know more about the opposite gender. Will learn how to accommodate the other person more as compared to just hanging around with girls or with boys. They will learn about, I would say, sensitive issues of girls having periods. I'm surprised to know that my daughter told me yesterday that in their school, they have different classes where only girls are taken away for the, orientation about the periods and the boys are not even aware. I'm surprised. What if when they're going or playing and a girl gets a period, how is he supposed to help her out? I'm really surprised with the fact. And mind you, none of us like uniform, but it's there for a purpose. I'm sure there'll be kids from different stratas of society, rich, poor. I'm sure the helpers out here also have kids here in the school. If we only want to wear designer clothes, many of us will have everyday different clothes. But think about a kid who's hardly earning anything, his father's hardly earning anything. He would want to have the same uniform every day. This is what is equity and equality I'm talking about. This is what we are already doing it in our day-to-day life. But it's just there for us to realize that we're doing this. And I want to say, this is a very weird and funny slide, but yeah. It is very important for us to realize that all of us are equal. Or I would say the otherwise. It is important for us to realize that we are not equal, but do we get equal opportunities? People don't agree with the reservation system. But I would say I'm against it or I will support it. But imagine a kid who is having an AC environment in the house, who's got access to the internet, tabs, and all the coaching, scoring 97%. And imagine another kid whose father's, trying hard to meet 2 ends meet and hardly earning a bread. The kid is working with the family. He's scoring a 60%. Do you still want to go with the kid who scored 97%? I think I will give all my applause to the kid who's able to score 60% in spite of all the hardships. What is our responsibility here is to give equal opportunity to the kid who scored 90%, vis-a-vis a kid who scored 97%. It is responsibility of teachers, us, government to give a ladder for these kind of underprivileged and people who are not supported to come up to a level where everybody is equal. Last 2 things I want to say. Hold a mirror to yourself. See, if you agree to whatever is happening around you, fine. If you don't agree, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to accept whatever is unacceptable? Are you going to let the minor biases just go away without making any noise? Or without even mentioning about to anybody else? I'm sure your school has enough freedom. They've given you enough freedom to talk about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. If you do not feel anything in your skin is comfortable, please speak up. And mind you, don't just speak up for yourself. Speak up for the other person who's not able to realize. Sometimes you see a person is struggling with something, the other person might not be able to. You have to get up. You have to voice for yourself, for your friends. But mind you, voice it up in a nice manner. It will just make a hue and cry about it. Finally, I would say, live equal, grow together, and play fair always. Gracias, Jai Hind. Thank you so much.